a little bit about that play versus therapy. And I think that question really brings up a good point.
All right. So especially with these toddlers, right? We're talking about the littlest kids whose brains are just forming, right? Yeah. And we want them to learn how to be natural, curious learners, trial and error learners, exploring and falling down and seeing what's in their world and learning from their mistakes so they don't make them again and all of that stuff. And that whole trial and error learning with situations like that comment we just had, it untrains the brain. It literally, those toddler years are when kids learn how to learn through explorative play. And without, if you're going to take 40 hours of their week, their waking hours, right, and put them into ABA, which is operant conditioning, it's only structured, repetitive activity based on imitation, memorization, teach, test, reward. And if you take 40 hours of a toddler's life and teach, test, reward, they're going to become prompt dependent. You're teaching them to become dependent on guided learning versus independent for I'm seeking knowledge. What's that? I'm curious about that. Tell me more. There is none of that. In fact, that is untrained. When early intervention, especially this intensive stuff, happens at these early ages. And what I'm finding it turns out to result in, if you've got parents out there who are deciding this or in this right now, is 5 or 6 or 7-year-old kids that have completely rebelled against this manipulative stuff because it doesn't move fast enough for their smart minds. They're brilliant. They just learn how to manipulate their way out, because they learn from being programmed, if then, that if then, so if I pitch a fit when they present this thing, then they'll quit doing it. And they learn, your child's pitching a fit now there, and then they'll bring it back to call your child more diseased, right? Because the program's not going easily. Your child's rebelling against the program. There must be something wrong with your child. And there is. At that point, they are completely pigeonholed and unprepared to learn spontaneously from their environment.
Right. And that's how we're wired to learn.
We're wired to learn naturally. That's why
as homeschoolers, we naturally want to create lifelong learners, and that is just squashing that ability. So,
when she talks about he just needed to be a kid, she's exactly right. Kids' brains learn how to learn by play, by being kids. They learn to be good students and go to school from being kids. But if that's untrained, either physically untrained by training an alternative or untrained by lack of exposure, either way is untrained. Now, the good news is if you do have any parents out there who have older children who have been in this stuff and they're looking for alternatives and they feel like their kid's robotic or, they've been kind of trained like that, the good news is these brains are very plastic. And this natural learning, like you said, because it's naturally wired for exploring these opportunities, right? You want to create lifelong learners for everywhere you are. That's the more natural way to go. So as soon as you stop prompting, forcing, making your kids catch up by hurrying them along through repeated activities and pressure and things like that, before you start doing that, think about getting that natural wiring going. And again, if it isn't fun, it isn't fun. Just like the curriculum we talked about, just like the experiences we talked about, kids are motivated to learn when they're motivated to learn, right?